Welcome back to DSE's Living Green series. This is Forever Young. I'm Anne Marie and Erik Johnson, and also guest host Shanti Davey. We're talking about fluoride today. And at the end of the break, we decided, actually I thought of a question, actually our cameraman thought of a question, and that is, why are they saying fluoride is so good then? If we've got all these things debunking it, what is good about it? What are they saying we need it for? I mean, obviously it's for the teeth, right? That's what they're saying. Are there other things that they're saying are good about it?
Yeah, they're saying, well, that's the main argument, that it's good for the teeth.
Okay.
Based on these areas that had naturally high fluoride in the water, a totally different different type of fluoride, and then mixed with other naturally occurring alkaline minerals.
Right. Okay.
And part of it may have been the high alkalinity of the water, and not even the fluoride. That's not even been totally fleshed out whether it really was the fluoride.
Okay.
There is some preliminary studies, like we said before in the last segment, that fluoride mixed with phosphorus and calcium, those three blended together, when they're literally like a kind of paste that's actually like brushed onto the teeth and left on them for several hours, and shown some anti-cavity activity. But that doesn't override, and the kind of fluoride they use in that study is not what they're putting in the water. So there's really no connection, and I think it's. And it's one of those things where it's just been told to us so many times. How many times did you watch that Crest commercial where they take a piece of chalk and they dip it in the blue water, and they pull the chalk out and they snap the chalk in half, and it shows how the blue water penetrates into the chalk? And they're like, see, it penetrates the teeth. Like this blue water penetrates this piece of chalk. And I've seen that 10,000 times. So...
We grew up thinking as kids that, fluoride, you got to have fluoride in your toothpaste. That's good for your teeth. You just grow up thinking that. Right.
I certainly thought it up until, even like it's 15, 20 years ago.
Go ahead, Sean.
And interesting enough, recently, if you notice on regular commercial toothpaste, it has a poison warning. It says, do not swallow this at all, and if you do, call the Poison Control Center immediately. That's how toxic fluoride is. And they realize that we are being over-fluoridated because it's in all toothpaste, it's in a lot of bottled waters, it's in most fruit juices,
it's in a lot of
sodas,
pesticides.
It's in pesticides which are on our food, and that's some pesticided fruits and vegetables have 95 times the dosage of what a human should get on them, such as iceberg lettuce and oranges are two of the worst that you can get fluoride in from produce.
It's in almost over 1/3 of all our prescription drugs. As
a matter of fact, the EPA just came out last year with they lowered the amount that can be put in the water and they told the water companies that they must have a warning on their bill to never feed this water to infants. So right now, every water company should have a warning on their water bill to never feed this water to infants. What are we doing in our country that we have water coming out of our taps that you can't give to infants? How are young, poor mothers going to buy bottled water? And do they even know if that water has fluoride in it?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get bottled water the company will not say whether it has fluoride in it.
So how do you know how do you honestly know then if your bottled water that you're buying has fluoride in it?
You don't know unless they explicitly tell you it does not have fluoride. You can just assume it has fluoride. They won't tell you. If the company will not explicitly say this does not contain fluoride,
then it does.
Most companies will not answer that question either on their websites.
Really?
I don't think any news journalists have ever asked them in person, but as far as I can get from calling them on the phone or emailing them, they will not answer that question, except for companies like Penta and real companies that are actually spring water. If it says actual spring water from an actual spring, usually it does not contain fluoride.
Does it say, now if it does say this is spring water, usually it won't contain.
Right.
Okay, because I get spring water. So I want
if it's truly from a spring, then it should be fluoride free or have very small amounts of naturally occurring fluoride.
I'd like to now talk about the effects of fluoride on the body. I'd like to know, does it have effects? You had mentioned something about the thyroid gland.
Right, yes. They find in autopsy the thyroid gland is constantly collecting fluoride.
Okay.
It diminishes the amount of thyroid hormone the thyroid puts out, and it prevents the communication of the 4 chambers of the thyroid. So it really inhibits thyroid growth or thyroid functioning, not growth.
Okay.
And thyroid disease is increasing exponentially in the last 20 or 30 years. It's just been skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as has the obesity rate has been increasing dramatically as well.
And that's due to low thyroid.
And the thyroid plays a very important contributing role in that. It also, like I said, we mentioned before in the previous one that it was bad for bone health. It's very bad for the brain. It diminishes cognitive functioning, it's thought to.
Okay.
It also collects in the kidneys. It accumulates in the kidneys. We know this for certain in autopsy when we send when the kidney is like sliced and it's thin slices and analyzed. That they become toxic with fluoride.
It's very dangerous for people with kidney issues, and that's another thing about this is we are actually being medicated against our will. I mean, this is something that is in our water, and we don't know how much we're getting, and we're getting it from other sources.
Well, and everybody gets a different amount. I had even in the store here, I had a man who was a really elite athlete, a large man. He was like physically large, and he was a top performing athlete. And he told me he was drinking 2 gallons of city water a day.
Oh my God!
That is an illegal overdose of fluoride. That's illegal. That's illegal to get that much. You couldn't sell that much even in a pill. Even with a prescription, that would be an illegal overdose of fluoride.
Wow.
Now, how can that be justified?
It shouldn't be. That's crazy.
It's really crazy.
So now...
Not only that, but if you go into a store here in Muskegon, you can buy something called nursery water, which is fluoride. They add extra fluoride to bottled water to give to infants. Which is the worst outrage I think we have ever talked about on this show. I can't think of another topic.
Hold on. You just said that they have warnings that not to give it to infants, but then you're saying they're selling it
as nursery water. It's fluoride enhanced. Some are using natural fluoride. That's from a high fluoride source, but others are actually adding fluoride ions, sodium fluoride to the water. And it's really outrageous. It really should be. People should be criminally prosecuted for nursery water.
That's terrible.
It's really terrible.
So tell me, we've got the brain, we've got the kidneys, we've got the thyroid gland.
We've got the bones.
And we've got the bones. Now, you said they've actually shown studies where increased fluoride causes osteoporosis.
It contributes to it based on people's known intake of fluoride and then their incidence of osteoporosis and osteopenia, yes.
Okay.
Well, the studies that they did were trying to use it as a bone, in the very beginning, as a bone growth stimulator and a bone strengthener. And when they gave these doses to people with osteoporosis, every one of them got worse, and almost 97%, I think, got hip fractures after that.
Really? That is something. Shanti, weren't you telling me about a study that involved several healthcare professionals that was actually denouncing fluoride?
Yes, and I'd like to read you some of this because it's quite interesting. This is over 2,000 professionals signed a statement. They include a Nobel Prize winner, 3 members of the 2006 National Research Council report on fluoride's toxicology, 3 officers in the union representing the professionals at EPA headquarters, and the Executive Board of American Academy of Environmental Medicine. Now, they have come from a variety of disciplines, and they have all come out. They're alarmed by what's happening with the fluoride. Okay. And it's the average fluoride daily intakes associated with many of the adverse effects are reached by some people consuming water at the concentration levels now used for fluoridation, especially small children, above average water drinkers, diabetics, people with poor kidney functions, and other vulnerable subgroups. Now, this is it's impaired thyroid function, iodine deficiency, all these things we've been mentioning. There's proof, there's scientific proof, they've all come out against this. The evidence provided by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in 2005 that 32% of American children have dental fluorosis, and it's higher now. It's much higher now. Abnormal discoloration, modeling of the enamel. It's irreversible, and it's not just cosmetic. It is a weakening of the teeth. These children are plagued with cavities the rest of their lives. So that is the basic. I mean, there's many more points, but this was signed and given to the powers that be. Much of the evidence has been just ignored or hidden by the executive branch of our government. So I really don't understand how there can be any reason for having it in our water now with all the studies that come out.
It is absolute most common sense. When we look at a city, like for example, Madison, Wisconsin, there's no fluoride in the water. They actually have better teeth and those slightly better teeth than the people in Grand Rapids. Now, how could that be true if fluoride was doing something for their teeth?
Exactly.
How could it be?
It couldn't be.
I'm asking you.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It simply couldn't be. Now,
One of the reasons that many dentists don't have any education in this, they just follow what the ADA says. And the thing is, there's now. I lost my train of thought.
Even if you were using dental. So a dentist at least applies it to the teeth for the most part. They don't tell you to just bypass the teeth and put it into the body.
Yeah.
So there is some use possibly for fluoride with the right type of fluoride in the right circumstances when fluoride could be beneficial.
Well, they have done tests that show the dental health of the nation went up everywhere. But it was attributed to fluorides in the cities that had fluoride. But it actually increased everywhere in this last 50 years because people have more. They're taught in school how to brush their teeth. Their dentists have education programs how to take care of their teeth. So that's the reason this prominent dentist, Dr. Kennedy, came out with a statement about this. It's not the fluoride, it's the better dental hygiene that's been happening in the last 50 years. And the difference is, like Erik said, between the cities is almost negligible.
That's amazing.
But people in the United States have they don't have good teeth compared to other industrialized countries. We have very bad teeth problems.
Well, we have to take a break. And when we come back, I'd like to talk about how we can change our circumstances and improve. I mean, if we're getting so much fluoride, what do we do about it? That's what we're going to talk about when we get back. We'll see you after a word from our underwriters.